Morning everyone. This is a very special day. So I'm currently stood by a particular car, and I just wanted to sort of share the story of why today's so blooming special. So I'm parked next to, which is my 1985 Renault 5. Now it gets a little bit complicated, but I'll start at the very beginning. So in 2012. For my 16th birthday, I got a MOT failure, deregistration, 1987 Renault 5 TC Rio. The idea was it was basically just a project to keep me occupied and out of trouble. And as we sort of dug into the car, had a look at everything that was wrong with it, it soon became apparent actually it was an absolute rust bucket, and it was well beyond the capabilities of me at the time. We then found a B registration shell down in Sussex, and it basically needed another engine because it was knackered. And we were looking at mine thinking, well, the engine and gearbox are one thing that are actually good on it, so we got this shell for next to nothing. I think the seller actually knocked it down to about 60 quid, because he just looked at me and said, you actually know what the hell you're talking about, I know you're going to look after it, so have it for a bit less and that will help pay for the dart charge. So yeah, ended up knocking it down from like 100 quid scrap value to 60, just because I really knew where I was looking for the rust. And that was March 2013. This registration originally was registered on the 16th of April 1985. Yeah, so today, if you look at the reg now, that reg I think is something like I believe it's about the 8th of August 85 now, because I had my I had a very first traffic accident in 2017, or was it 16? 2016. It was October 2016. And unfortunately, the car that I had, my first car, which was B95XKE, that I drove on the road with a licence, got knocked on this corner, and basically the entire front end was completely bent over, and nothing ever fitted right, and it never drove quite right. You always had to drive it with a little bit of let's say bit of unorthodox skill, because although it passed the OTs and was deemed safe in that respect, it was never going to drive quite as it should have done, because the chassis was essentially like that at the front. So it was a shame. But being such an early car, I could never let it go, because the shape of the bumpers, for example, is phase one, and that is what this car is. It's an early phase one. Now the original car that I had didn't even have these, because I think it was approximately May or June in 85 that the regulations changed, and you had to have these fitted from factory. So the very original one didn't have these on it, because it wasn't required by regulation. Obviously, this being a August car, or this shell being an August car, regulations had changed, so I had to have them. I think my deregistration had them, and that was a May 87 car. So yeah, it was a bit of a strange one, because I remember looking at the shell thinking, well, how the hell has a GTL shell not got them and a TC shell has? So yeah, absolutely love this car inside out. It's never been perfect, because it's a everyday car from yesteryear, and cars used every day, it's pretty much impossible to keep them in a perfect condition, i.e. mint or concourse. I always just clean it up and make it as nice as I can, really, because the main thing is that it's still going and I'm still enjoying it on the road, so you kind of overlook the aesthetics a little bit. Door cards, I am looking for some. I've actually I met someone at the restoration show a few weeks ago who needed a new tailgate trim, which I've got in the garage, and I was trying to sell it, but then I decided, you know what, this cap's put so much effort into getting his GT Turbo absolutely spot on and mint, and I want to give it to him as a present to say, well done. This is the final one of the final pieces, just to get a little detail even better than it already is. So he's potentially got a pair that we're possibly going to negotiate about. But the trouble, what makes it difficult on this car is the fact that obviously the shells are TC spec, so the door card would have only gone up to here anyway. But then a TC spec never had front door speakers. They were only ever in the back next to the rear parcel shelf. But the holes are always there, so you could aftermarket fit them and cut the panels out. The door card I really want was fitted to GTS automatic, GTX, GT Turbo, TSE, and the GTL that I had, which basically comes all up to then. You have a plastic trim that goes over the top of it, and the plastic trim actually pushes into these little holes here. Yeah, I know way too much, don't I? So, but yeah, I'm just going to show you a picture of something, and then you're going to come with me on my way to work, driving Anna on her 39th birthday. So this here is a board that I made for a project I did when I was 16, where I had to basically make a speech about something and talk about it for 5 minutes straight. Now obviously we all know that I could talk about Renaults for a lot longer than 5 minutes, but the main culmination of the entire board was these two colour pictures, which were brought to attention, which is obviously the Mark 1 and the Mark 2. Obviously that there is one of the very early versions, potentially the same as Pat, because I can't see any badging on the wing, so it's quite possible that was. But yeah, that was a nice early one, and if you look very close, it's even got the illegal diamond on it. Anyway, we'll focus on this picture today. So this here is roughly a TSE spec Super 5. Now the original colour I had was 705 red, which was base red, no lacquer, and basically it always just went pink for fun, which you might have seen on the bonnet on Anna. Obviously this one is a darker red, which is, I believe it's 716, and the difference is that's a metallic red. Now for me, that sort of factory showroom look was always kind of a bit of a dream. It was always I really wish I could go back in time just so I could have Anna in absolutely almost brand new condition and enjoy it like it's still 1985. And essentially that's what I ended up with when I found the car that Anna is now, what's the word for it, rekindled in, I suppose. So it's got the early bumpers. The only thing I've never found are these wheels. Very rare. I've only ever seen one in a picture. I've never seen them actually in the flesh, so tells you how blue and hard to come by they are. But yeah, there's lots of features on here that even turbos didn't have, because it was a particular spec. But yeah, you've got the opening rear windows, hence the little dots there. You've got the centre grille, which is particular for a phase 1 Mark 2, because when it was facelifted, I think Diamond moved to that side. It's one of the two sides, but it then became body coloured, and then the bumpers also got a bit fatter and facelifted, which I've never liked. I've always preferred the early shape. But yeah, so this is Anna, and the reason why, if you look up this reg now, it's a different date to what I'm mentioning, is because 2 years ago I found this shell, very local to me, and it's another very early shell. It was on a C plate, but it has all the right things, the nice early phase 1 bumpers, the grille, and it was on 15,000 miles. It had been off the road since 1991. So essentially I went along to it and I was looking at it thinking, I'm basically looking at a new old stock shell that's been registered, and to reshell my GTL into it and make a really nice car that I can use. I can just wax oil it to hell basically, and it's going to be okay, and I can actually use it and not worry about it. It'll be like having be like having a new car in metal, but then having all the bits that are 40 years old bolted onto it. So that's what I did. So it's the closest thing I'm ever going to have to still having my first car. Still got the number plates because I've retained them and then swapped them over. But yeah, this is my first car, which is Anna, and in my mind she is a 1985 Renault 5 GTL. The thing I like about this video today is the fact that she isn't all tarted up to look absolutely perfect and pristine. She's in everyday use, still commutes me to work, even covered in all this blooming stuff that the wind's been flying around for the last couple of days. And the bonnet, that's a bit of work in progress at the minute, because basically the original one that came on this shell was completely rot on the front edge, which I've never seen before actually. But I've got hold of this bonnet, and although it's faded in a completely different red, it kind of adds a little touch, just to sort of remind that actually the original car was that colour. So I'm not sure what to do about it yet, but just need to make some adjustments. But aside from that, I'm very happy. I just can't. It's scary to think that I got this car and it was 27 years old, and that was considered old at the time. And now, to me, a 27-year-old car is not that old, because that's only the 90s. But yeah, so yeah, that's my baby. That's my Anna. I've had her since I was 16. I'm now nearly 28. So yeah, I wouldn't have, if you'd have said to me back then you're going to have that when it turns 39 coming up 40, I would have probably been like, of course I am, because I'm never letting it go. And so far I've just basically learned every little trick in the book in terms of welding, electrics, mechanics, and even a little bit of bodywork, just to be able to keep it going, because I love it, and therefore I want to look after it, not just throw it away like an everyday car. Even though she's an everyday car, I want to look after it and care for it, because if you do that, things will last. So that's what I do. On the inside of the car, aside from the door cards, these are GTX seats which came out the other shell, and they've been in 2 or 3 other random cars, because that was what I was told by the chap who bought my car 12 years ago. It's a GTX panel because I wanted the gauges, and to get it in this shell I had to rewire the entire lot. There's about 30 wires between 3 plugs, and I had to cut and solder the entire lot back together. That was interesting, but it all works, happy days, so yay. Radio's out of the BX at the moment, because the other radios, the really fancy one I've got for my phone, is in the BX. The dashboard came out of, I think it was a Campus Prima, but they're all exactly the same all the way through, so it's just the car that changes. And this steering wheel I'm very happy about. A couple of years ago, so the original one, this spec was kind of hard rubber, textured, and in the sun it just basically just acts like leather and falls apart and cracks. A couple of years ago I managed to find someone on my travels for work who was breaking I think it was a GTS he was breaking, and this steering wheel came off it because it was absolutely immaculate, and I still can't believe I actually found the original correct type of steering wheel for it. But I did, and my word, it is so nice. I absolutely love it. So, oh yeah, and the other thing I got from this shell was a nice sunroof, which is blooming lovely. So yeah, right, I'm going to shut up now, pop you in the thing, and we'll go for a little drive to celebrate 39 years.